Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. We can finally move on to some other stuff now because the tutorial is done. So that's good. That ended up being a lot more effort than I thought it was going to be. And maybe done is not the right word. I mean, I think there are probably some things that can be improved or refined, but I actually think it's looking like it's in really good shape. I think at the very least it's demo ready. Whether or not it will change a little bit for the full release, I don't know. But I think it's definitely better than it was. The more guided approach feels better. It explains more. So hopefully that works. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. But first, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. If you you can go to the Steam page, add it to your wish list. It'll be out before the end of the year, full release. So yeah, it's exciting times. And the demo will be coming out in the near future as well. So that's what I'm working on. That's my focus right now, is just getting a demo build up that feels good, looks good, and gets people to want to wishlist the game. If you want to support the development of the game, though, you can head on over to Patreon. If you subscribe at the sponsor tier here for at least 1 month, I will send you a Steam key for the full game when it launches, so you will not need to buy it on Steam. And I will put your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits, so your name could be mentioned. I have smudge on my glasses. Your name could be mentioned in the next indie hit. Doesn't that sound amazing? So yeah. And then I have my Udemy courses as well. You could check those out. Those are linked below. Anyway, let's get into the work. Now that the ads are done. Hello, Emerson. Welcome. Good to see you. No tutorial stuff anymore. That is correct. I mean, I'll run through the tutorial real quick, or just like a couple steps of the tutorial to see what it looks like now, or to show you what it looks like now. Gosh. I'm all kinds of frazzled today, I guess. But welcome, Wooius. Hello, V. Welcome. Waz the Great. Hello. Good to see you. Alex C. Welcome. Good to see you. I had no idea you were in jail. Congrats on getting out. Yeah, thank you to the grassroots campaign to commute my sentence. I am now a free man yet again. No jail here. I haven't even gotten a ticket. In my entire life. I've literally never had any sort of state-sanctioned punishment levied against me. So, anyway. Let me show you what the tutorial looks like. Tutorial run. Yeah, we turn this on. Let's see what it looks like. Welcome, Diwernak, though. Good to see you. Welcome, Samurai Kina. That's nice to hear, buddy. No more tutorials, no more. So here's what the tutorial looks like now. And I did take Emerson's suggestion, and I also added an objective, like permanent objective tooltip. So we've got the outline of the highlight area now. And then you can see that those animate in. They also animate out now a little bit when they're done. But after 5 seconds of not doing anything, this objective text pops up and it says what you have to do right now. So that should hopefully, I guess the concern was if players don't remember what the tutorial told them to do, they could still get lost. So there's just like a short little bit of text up here that says what you're supposed to do. And that is present for several parts of the tutorial. So if I sit here for 5 seconds, I'm going to get an objective that says choose a booster option, right? So there's the objective, choose a booster option. And I go, oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do, right? And these lighten up a little bit later into the tutorial once the player knows like how the game is being played. Place the booster items into your stash. So we do this. Defeating Inquisition forces in combat will award blood. Okay. I think it will say something here too. Yeah, visit the combat encounter. And then this one is a good one as well. I think it'll say put items on your combat board and click combat. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so that's just there. It's a 5-second delay because like if people are following along, I don't want to clutter the screen more. So it's more so like if the game has determined, like there's a grace period, right? So it's like after 5 seconds of the player not doing anything, it'll be like, are you stuck? Here's the tip, right? So instead of cluttering the screen and showing it immediately, I just figure, yeah, we just show that. And I might increase that time as well. But there we go. There's our inventory. Add at least 2 items to the pot. So these are especially helpful in the alchemy stage because you may be like, wait, what was I supposed to do? Oh, add 2 items to the alchemy pot. Okay, so boom. You know, I'm imagining players will be like, wait, what's the alchemy pot again? Okay, it's probably, I guess it's this thing, so we'll put it here. And then it goes, oh, okay, there we go. Alchemy has a small chance of adding corrupted ability. Hover over an item in the pot to see which of abilities will be replaced. When you are ready, click the pot to spend blood and perform alchemy. So now, what if I sit here? Wait, what am I supposed to do again? That was a lot of text. What? Oh, then click the pot to perform alchemy. Oh, click the pot. Okay, good. Right? So I'm hoping that this is like on rails enough that it's going to give people a good understanding of what's going on. And then it tells me to close my inventory. I didn't wait for that objective, I guess, but that's all right. So then we go to the alchemical reagents. There is no tooltip here. So this is like the first time where I kind of let the player just do their own thing. They should have a good understanding of like how to interact with the game by now. So, and there's like one option here, right? So it's very, very straightforward. Hopefully they go and learn to click that. Then I explain the reagents. If I sit here for a while, it will probably tell me to take the reagents. I actually don't remember. Yeah, place all the reagents in your stash. So I place those. And then it's like, okay, let's try using a reagent. Open your inventory. What happens if I sit here now for a while? So I can't, so I get locked on movement. I can't do this. Objective, open the inventory. Okay, boom. So maybe we don't need to go through this whole thing, but... So now it says, use flint and alchemy to add a fire ability to an item. Read carefully as reagents often have conditions that need to be satisfied. Okay. What am I supposed to do again? Use flint and alchemy to add a fire ability to one or more items. Oh, okay. So I do this, and I put the flint in, and then I click here, right? Oh, ensure flint is in the pot and isn't affecting at least one item. Oh, I see. So I literally can't go past this point until I manage to use the flint correctly. Reagents are consumed when using alchemy. One or more of your items has received the fire ability from flint. Okay. So this is another place where I just let the player, like, get lost a little bit. I don't have an explicit objective. Because, again, like, I don't want to just have them completing a checklist, right? I want to show them how to play the game, but then I also want to give them a little bit of room, like, unguided, to reinforce the learning. So I'm not telling the player what to do next from this point. So they're going to have to figure out, okay, I got to remove the item from alchemy, close my inventory, and then can I move on? Yes. Okay. So yeah, so that's the tutorial. I mean, we might as well, we're already basically 75% of the way through it. So this explains the morale. This explains the fact that you can inspect items. I guess there is a problem here which could be addressed, which is that I'm not telling players any of the keybinds. But I'm hoping that just by showing this view, players will remember this and then they'll go, wait, how do I bring that up? Let's see. Oh, right-click inspect. Here we go, right? If I need to add an extra prompt there, I probably will, but... And then I call out the cell. You may find yourself with a surplus of items or a lack of blood. Drag items to the cell board to dispose of them and gain a small amount of blood. Now, I don't actually require that the player does anything there. Then we go to the grow board. It explains this. This one will pop up an objective as well. Go to the enchant. I think the objectives are basically done at this point. I just kind of leave the enchant and the upgrade unexplained. That will be an opportunity for the player to, first of all, for the player to reinforce again how you interact with this game. But also this is a point for the player to like learn how a new event they haven't seen yet works. Because I'm not going to introduce every like encounter type in the tutorial. So again, just reinforce like introducing new event types here and then letting the player kind of like figure out how to interact with them, I think is okay. And then the final thing is explaining the artifacts, right? So I do want to explain that and also point out up here that they can look at the artifacts up there. And then we are in the final boss. And I think the other point where I have an objective is here. So if the player happens to die in the tutorial, I will show this. I don't force a death, but that is a tweak that I could make. Force a death at the stronghold somehow. And I think an objective will appear here as well. Oh, maybe not. Well, that's probably all right. Okay, and then I can beat the game. And then it just goes straight into the normal run overview screen. And it does not track any of these statistics either, so you could do the tutorial as many times as you want and it doesn't do anything. Then I go back to the menu. And there we go. And we got a new tutorial button here. Would I like to play the tutorial? No. So yeah, that's the tutorial. That's nice. Thank you. Looks great. Thank you. Hello, Artem. It's going well. How are you doing? Looks really nice with the animations. Thank you. Good morning, Ninja Link. Welcome back. Always good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so hopefully this is a much better tutorial. And I think I may just quit game development entirely if people say, actually, that tutorial sucks, redo it again. But hopefully that won't happen. Okay, so I still have this pinning tooltip stuff in the backlog. I think I'm going to deprioritize this for now because I want to get through a bunch of these to-do items. So the goal for this stream... Excuse me, the goal for this stream is basically just to get through as many of these to-do items as is reasonable. So, let's just get through them. Translate alchemy error messages in invalid clicked in alchemy container. By the way, I think I'm up to over... Yep, I just hit 5,000 commits on this project. Oh, Lord. Probably going to be 6,000 by the time release rolls around. Okay. What? Oh, alchemy. Wait a minute. Oh, here. Validate alchemy inputs, alchemy input config. Validation error. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add these here. I guess that's fine. Insane amount for one person. Yeah. I think we're at like 73,000 lines of code and 5,000 commits. It's quite a lot. Announcement. Alchemy, validation. Let's grab these. Alchemy, validation, single item, I guess. So I'll put that there. So these just need to be part of the translation file. That's what I'm doing here. Announcement, alchemy validation, non-reagent item. Okay. Add at least 2 items to the pot. Announcement, alchemy validation. I'll call this one items required. All right. Okay, I think that works. Cannot alchemize. I think that's just a generic error. So we'll just create a generic one. Oops. Translation string. I don't think this ever shows up, but we'll do it anyway. Announcement, validation, generic. Okay. I think that's it. Let's build. Hello, Dev Medic. Welcome back. Hello, Kais the Ox. New subscriber here. Welcome. Glad to have you. I enjoy watching someone else suffer through the game dev process like me. Yeah. Yep. Sometimes it is very suffering. Sometimes it's very fun. All right, let's just verify that those work. So it's very important for me to get the translations in place because we do want to have the demo translated. So any string that is going to be present in the demo that is not yet translated needs to be translatable. So I don't think that's that many places in the code. I think I've already translated the bulk of the code. I think there's probably just a handful of places where that is not the case. Add at least 2 items to the pot. Death Orchid. An item exists which can only be used alone. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, we are good. Cool. I'm also going to remove... Oh, ignore save file, ignore unlocks. Okay. Translate alchemy error strings. Done. All right. Give more interesting query parameter to giant mushroom spore. So I'm going to go through all the reagents and give them some, like I said, interesting, yeah, just more interesting query parameters. So add giant mushroom spore. So I think this one, it goes to the right here, but then I think maybe the problem is that it then adds to all items. Adds the following ability to items, yeah. So I don't want that. I think I'm just going to keep it to the right as well. Giant mushroom spore. Set added ability configure query. Absorb. Might as well just copy this. Okay, let's also re-enable the save file, because I want to make sure that that serializes properly. Giant mushroom spore. Quick question, what was that to-do app you were using? Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. Thanks for pronouncing my name right. Oh, you're welcome. I mean, it's kind of like a crapshoot, right? Like, I'm sure I butcher everyone's names, but I'm glad I got yours right. Hive B, welcome. I'm just kidding. Hive B, good to see you. Finally a Patreon sponsor. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's do this with that. Dang it, I forgot to build the translations. That's okay. Can do that now. Adds a following ability to one right adjacent item. So that works. Ew, look at all those tentacles. Excellent. Okay. So the reason why I'm doing this is I'm basically going to get rid of all of the reagents that just globally add stuff or globally change things. Number one, because I think that could be too powerful. And number two, I think it's more fun if the reagents is more of like an optimization puzzle rather than, oh, I just throw in like these three things and like that's going to make it all my items better, right? I think it's more fun if you have to think about like how you're placing the reagents. So that's done. Okay, give boss souls more interesting query parameters. Add more interesting query parameter. Let's do the lead ingot. Right, so... Oh, this is just guaranteed. Oh, I need to actually change this. This is just increasing... Oh. So I'm actually going to need to add some more sophisticated logic here, because this is just increasing a number and then it just randomly chooses. Oh, that's a pain in the rear. All right, well, we have to do it. So this one I'm gonna do, Yeah, let's do query target provider dot create. Options. Up. Options dot query directions dot order options dot order by random is equal to true. Options dot limit is equal to 1. We want to add abilities dot add query target provider. Query target provider dot to query string template. I'm gonna have to think about that actually. I have to figure out how to get that phrasing to work correctly. Query, no. Description template parameters func is equal to this. Oh my gosh, I cannot type today. Query target provider dot query options dot limit. All right, so then in here, all we need to do is for each for our target in query target provider dot get cached targets. Wow, this is going to be rough. It's always harder to do what you're trying to do when you can't type. So how is this actually being used? Legendary assignments. Legendary. Yeah, I think this would be just as simple as public hash set base card guaranteed legendary. Okay, so in here what I'll do is I'll say context.reagentEffects.add or .guarantee legendary cards.add target. Context.reagentEffects record reagent affected card. Context.reagent card target. We get rid of that. I think I'm just going to get rid of this as well. So we've got the guaranteed legendary cards. So now I got to go to Alchemy input config. I think I can get rid of all of this stuff. Legendary eligible indices. Oh, I need to add a custom filter onto this. Options.custom filter. Card not card dot is legendary. Okay. So I think all of this stuff can go away now. Is guaranteed legendary is reagent effects dot guaranteed legendary cards dot contains card. I think, is that it? Is that all I need to do? All right, let's see what happens. You butcher my name, but every English native speaker does. Is it not Wooius? What is it supposed to be? Vivius? Is it the German V? Vivius? Best example is the gem. The best item to prevent overriding abilities can only be used on white items because they're both above. The gem. Is it the gemstone or... Oh, so like gemstone and witch dust? Yeah. Are you talking about gemstone and witch dust? I usually take notes and assign tasks and ClickUp, but the phone app is terrible. Oh, yeah. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. With the message yummers. Like that you're using C#. I went the GDScript route even though I'm a Java guy. Yeah, I mean, GDScript is perfectly fine. I like GDScript. I have nothing against GDScript. Oh, I forgot to rebuild the translations. Yummers. Gotcha. I love your style and the way you add game juice is very satisfying to look at. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, here's a name I'm gonna butcher. Bator Darzabe. Makes one random item above legendary. Oh, that actually worked. I just need a space here. That's all I needed. Okay, so now this has, see how this has a query parameter up? So this one obviously will need to be used at the bottom. And we could do something like this or like this. So I like this one because if you want to guarantee target a legendary, you basically have to leave the other spots open. Or you can fill the other spots with like reagents, right? But if I were to do this, then it could potentially make the Lambone Ring or the Giant Harvestman legendary. Don't have enough blood. And it didn't work. Cool. Is there a reason you did not work, sir? Is there a reason why that didn't work? Let's just put a breakpoint there and see what happened. That was perfect. Okay, well, I got it. It's Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. Welcome, Kisiara Francis. Welcome. McNeil Gaming, welcome back. Good to see you. Guaranteed legendary cards has no entries. Interesting. Oh, you know what the problem is too, actually? So wait, it's not adding it to the guaranteed legendary card list here. Why is that not happening? The other thing that I'm realizing is I may not want order by random. This is a problem actually. This order by random is just using a different RNG, so it could produce a different output every time for the, because the alchemy is seeded as well, but I don't think I need to be that strict about it. The proper way to do this probably would be to just grab all of the items. But I'm going to fix this actually. So we're going to do the highlight query target provider. Create this one. This one will be like the real one, which we do this. Highlight query target provider. The real one we're going to do options.suppress should suppress highlight true. This would be highlight query target provider, highlight query target provider, but then down here we keep this. So then what I do is I grab all the targets. So var targets is equal to get cache targets. Oh, that just returns the correct array. So query target provider, get cached targets. If targets dot length is equal to 0, we just return random target is equal to targets context.rng.randi range 0 to targets dot length -1. Random target. Okay. But there's still the problem of like, why isn't this working? Guaranteed. Am I not reading this correctly? Reagent effects protected cards is guaranteed legendary. Contains card. Yeah, I don't really know why that's not working. Targets.length is 0. Oh, I need to add non-combat ability to this. It's not even executing, right? So it's never even getting down into the, it's not even executing the query target providers. That would make sense. Okay, so it needs to be a non-combat ability. So I'll rebuild the translations, make sure that's still good. And now it should work. I'm fairly confident that it's going to work. Cool. Let's just try it with both. So the interesting thing is I should, every time I do this that way, because it's using the seed properly now, it should make the Harvestman legendary every single time. So I am storing a seed for like the next alchemy. And the reason I'm doing that is to prevent players from doing some alchemy which maybe has some random results and then saying, no, I don't like that, and then they like close the game and reopen it and try again. It's not like a super robust system. Like you could change this seed, or you could change the order of things by just switching things around a little bit. But at least what I'm guaranteeing is that if you put the exact same things in the exact same spots, you're going to get the exact same result every time for that seed. And then the RNG gets advanced such that if you were to do the exact same configuration again, you would get a different result, right? So it's just a very sort of like light way of discouraging players from cheesing things. So like the kind of approach that I'm taking for this is I don't want to be super robust and like blow up the technical complexity to prevent players from cheesing or save scumming, but I want to do just enough where it becomes just too annoying to do it effectively. But if you're really dedicated, there's a bunch of ways that you could still save scum if you want. It's just I got rid of all of the easy paths to save scumming. To protect the integrity of the game. What made you go for the dark art style there? Pretty cool. I mean, I just always have liked dark fantasy, like necromancer kind of stuff. Just always have liked it. I don't even... I think it goes back to the days like I was like 4 years old or something, and my mom set me up with like an EverQuest account because my parents were big like MMO players. Like they played EverQuest and they played World of Warcraft when it came out. And when I was a little child, my mom set me up with just a very basic character in EverQuest, and I would just spend like hours killing skeletons. Like that's literally all I did. And I don't know, it's just been a lifelong fascination for me, I guess. Of course, you know, like a typical 30-some-year-old, I also wore out the VHS tape for Nightmare Before Christmas. Watching that so many times. I don't think I really need to go that deep into testing this. I just want to make sure that it is indeed grabbing something random. I just want to see the Lambone ring get legendarized. There we go. I guess it doesn't make sense to answer me. Art is just your taste. Well, I mean, I think it does make sense. What's the bug? I don't get it. Randomizers are randomizing. So the problem is like these reagents, like this Alchemy Guaranteed Legendary, this is an ability. So almost everything in the game that has any functionality is technically an ability. But I have two classes of abilities. I have abilities that only execute in combat, and I have abilities that only execute outside of combat. And so if I have a passive ability, which is something that like updates based on like the board position of an item, those are passive abilities, which means that I actually go through the ability execution system, but only with the passive abilities. And so the problem was this was not marked as a passive ability, which is what this Einon combat ability does. This is just it's an empty interface, but it basically tells me this is a passive ability. And so because it wasn't a passive ability, these query target providers were never executing. These were only going to execute during combat, which doesn't make any sense because we're trying to use it in alchemy, right? So these abilities actually need to execute in order to grab the target list, which I can then assign, you know, one of those items as legendary. Now, there is one issue here, which is that if I make 2 lead ingots overlap and they select the same item, that's going to be a problem. So what I may do actually is I may do where x not context dot reagent effects dot guaranteed legendary cards dot contains x. So I'll just filter that down so that subsequent lead ingots will always choose a different target. I don't even know if it's worth testing that, but we might as well. Kind of personal question. How much time programming did you have prior to learning Godot game dev? A lot. I've been doing programming in some form since I was 14 years old. And, you know, I spent my teenage years playing League of Legends and programming. Those are basically the only two things that I ever did. So, yeah, I had quite a bit of experience. I've worked professionally as a programmer for many years. So, yeah, lots of experience. So this should turn both of them legendary. Yeah, okay. Always feels good to fix a bug before it happens. Let me just run the translations again, make sure it's all up to date. I think it should be fine. Okay. There we go. That's done. I guess I just got to do the boss souls now. Let's do boss souls. Give boss souls more interesting query parameters. Okay. I guess this is not the right spot for this. Oh. Ability derivers. Alchemy added ability. Configure query. Oh, let's do... I'm going to have to add a new... Ability derivers. I think I can do this. Wait a minute. Maybe this won't work. Get by key. Provenance.key. Oh, I am going to need to set... All right, that's okay. I think what I can do is... Let's do boss, soul, alchemy added. Inner ability. We're going to need the configure here. Okay. But what I want to do is I actually want to make this bar ability set. Can I not set the key? Really? I don't think I can use the same key because then when it gets deserialized from the save file, it's going to go to the wrong thing. What is a VHS tape? I guess you're querying a cache, not an actual DB. Yeah, the querying is basically that's just my term for saying, hey, go to the board and find all of the items that match these parameters, right? So like if I want to find all of the items that are above, I say, okay, well, scan all the cells that are above this item and find all the items in there, right? But then I might have a custom filter like find the cards that are not legendary, right? So it will grab a list of all those cards, but then it will say, okay, remove all the ones that are legendary. That's just how it works. And so it actually just does and goes a board search based on those parameters. So it's not like an actual database query. It's more so it's like a, yeah, just fetch all the things, all the items on the board that match this description. I think boss soul should be limited to one target as well. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I just got to figure out like the serialization and deserialization is important. So I need to figure that out. What I could do maybe is I could just fix it in here. So I could just do string key override is equal to null. Private read-only string key override. And then here I can do that. So then key override here would be boss alchemy added. Okay. What is the default? Ability alchemy added. So ability, let's rename this. Ability boss soul. Okay, so for the configure query here, so I can just return this actually. Query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions dot bottom adjacent. Should have limited one target. Query target provider dot query options dot limit is equal to 1. Okay. So now in the combat configuration, this would be boss alchemy added. And hopefully that just makes it all good. So I'm gonna have to turn on the save file again. Let's also put, well, all nodes visitable. Let's just add God mode to myself. Let's clear my save data and let's see what happens. I need to make all the nodes viewable as well. So I can go and jump to the boss. Get a boss soul. Is C# Godot still used 3.x or you can't export for web? Yes, that's true. I am on 4.7.1 and I'm not exporting this game to web, so it doesn't matter to me. So yeah, but yeah, the web exports are still not available. Oops, forgot to build the translations. Please tell me it worked. It did not work. Do I need to add this as a translation step? Problem is this ability is not being translated, so I think I need to add it to the translation generator. Generate abilities, build ability list. All abilities list dot add range ability derivers dot let's just do public static enumerable base composed ability get dummy abilities for translation, and we return derivers dot keys dot select. Let's just do derivers dot select x dot value ability builder dot damage 0. And then in here we do add range ability drivers dot get dummy abilities for translation. Let's see if that works. Ability alchemy added boss soul. Adds the following ability to one bottom adjacent item. There we go. So the translation strings are there now. Go to the stronghold, smack him up with the God mode button. We should see now that that's correct. Adds the following ability to one bottom adjacent item. Okay. So now I should be able to do something like this. I actually don't have anything. So add items, skeleton, commander. To one bottom adjacent item. So let's just put both of these and we'll see what happens. It only added that one. Good. I think that's basically it. Oh, I need to make sure that it's saved. Right. Okay, well, let's just go get another boss soul. I need to make sure that this restores properly from the save file. So we kill that guy. We grab the small boss soul, the commoner soul. Grow up. All right, let me take a look at the save file. Alchemortis. Boss alchemy added ability. There we go. So when we go to load this save file, the provenance says the source is 3. So that means that it's derived. And so when that key is derived, what it will do is it will take this key here. It will look that up in the ability derivers and it will say, okay, this is sort of like the factory function, the constructor function for that derived ability. And then it will return an instance of that. So with the exact same configuration and everything. So if I close the game and reload, we should see exactly that ability still stored. Giant hammer heal. There we go. So yeah. So this is how, the reason why I need that ability driver is because the way that the save system works is that it stores the provenance of abilities. So when you're alchemizing things and all the abilities are changing around, it's essentially just saying, okay, here's your item, here's the list of abilities, and here's where all of those abilities originate from. So I'll just say this ability originated from the skeleton warrior with this key. And so when I restore the save file, I basically grab that ability from the skeleton warrior because that's where the ability originates, and I just put it back on the item. So instead of trying to serialize individual abilities, instead what I'm serializing is what is the origin of this ability? Like where did it initially come from? Or where is it ultimately defined? But for things like the boss souls, I'm kind of like programmatically creating abilities, and so they don't have a definitive origin. And that's what the ability derivers are for. The ability derivers are ways for me to specify like classes of abilities which are basically kind of like dynamically created at runtime. And so I can say the source is derived, and then I can go to the deriver and this can spit out the proper ability configuration for me. So yeah, I think that works great though. All right, boss souls. Create better query parameters for boss souls. Okay, that's done. Boom. All right, should we rework the Manticore Stinger? I kind of want to do this. No one uses the Manticore Stinger. He's free. Hello, Defined Audi. What are you talking about when you say translation? What is that? So whenever I say translation on the stream, what I mean is that I want the English source strings to get into this en.po file. So this is all the text in the game. And this file, I've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth repeating. This file is an artifact of the build. So I am not manually editing any of this. What I have is I have a translation generator that basically goes through all of the game's systems and it collects all of the strings and then it outputs that to the translation file. So as I'm adding new abilities to the game, I don't need to do anything extra. I just add the ability and then I rebuild the translations and those ability descriptions get added to this file. So when I say I need to support translations or I'm adding the translation, I don't mean that I'm actually adding like the other languages. What I mean is that I'm adding the string to the English base translation file. And this is the file that I will hand off to translators to replace with whatever language they're translating to. But that first step is critical, right? Like you have to have a file that drives all of the English text or provides all the English text so that you can have the template for all the other languages, right? And actually the game, I mean, the way that the game works is that it's using the English language PO file when I go in. So like all of this text that you see on the screen, or most of it, the vast majority of it, is being pulled from that English, that en.po file. So all of the ability descriptions, the item names, those are being read from that file. So I could do ability, or I could do card, skeleton, commander. So here's the cards, the skeleton commander's abilities, right? Card, skeleton, commander, blah, blah, blah. And then it's got all the text in here. I noticed in the latest playtest that after alchemizing the fancy text animation, the tooltip keeps playing every time it's hovered over. Is that a design decision or a bug? That is a design decision because if I only played it once, then it would become a little bit harder to notice what changed. But I can change that if it's annoying, or I can make it faster. The game will be translated to multiple human languages. There's currently only one language so far, but PO files, an existing language framework, or some custom solution? That's existing. It's called get text. Of course, Google thinks I'm a bot. So it's here. So it's called get text. You can read about it here, but PO, portable object. So this is a format that Godot supports for translations. And so, yeah, you can see like the format is well specified. I actually think this format is pretty bad though. Because like the translators, so message GID, this is like the ID of the message. This expects it to be the original English language string, which doesn't make any sense to me because it seems like it would be smarter to have hard, unchanging identifiers. Because the way that it works by default is that it uses the English language string as the key to look up the other languages. But of course, the problem is if you make a minor tweak to the English language key, then that breaks the relationship to the other languages because the other languages are using the exact English phrase or sentence as the key to know what to look up. And that seems very brittle to me, right? Like, this is the way that Godot recommends to do it, is to set up stable IDs and then just swap them out. But the translators with their PO editing tools, I actually have to reformat this to put the ID, like this has to become the ID here. And so now the problem is, like, I may want to make a minor tweak to the English string and allow it to fall back to like a slightly outdated foreign language string or other language string. But you can't, like, you'll just break the relationship if you edit the English string. So that seems like a very big weakness. I'm not sure why they made that decision. I feel like you should always like use the stable IDs, and then whenever you get around to updating the other languages, you can just include those. But you basically can't change an English language string without breaking how it links to other languages. Seems like a very, it's such an obvious design oversight that I'm confident that I'm missing something. But anyway, are you hiring translators, or is it your producer? The publisher is hiring the translators. Hello, Clickertail, welcome. Forgot to say hi to you. If you ever wanted to change the game's color palette, would that be impossible? Could you just hue shift the whole game? Yeah, I mean, I could do like a palette swap shader that just runs over the screen and then just like replaces everything, like create a mapping of one color to another. And I'm actually thinking about doing that just for release, offering a couple of different color palettes so that people who think the game is too dark, they could potentially use a different color palette. But yeah, it would just be a palette swap shader. I mean, that's one of the benefits of making it such that all of the colors that end up on the screen end up as one of the 8 colors in my palette, is it becomes relatively easy then to just map those colors onto different colors of a different palette, because there's no mixing colors, right? That would be a lot harder to do, if not impossible. I would have to do more of like a hue shift approach, I think, in that case. Good morning, Andrew. 100% smarter, yeah, that would be diabolical to LQA. IDs are definitely better. I guess that's how the Tutela system was made by English people. The convention for BO files was established in the 1990s. I guess it was a convenient solution at the time. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Looks like it was made as the path of least resistance so that programmers who don't want to think about localization at all can still produce something vaguely localizable. Yeah, I mean, that's not, if I was designing a translation system, I definitely would just like say, no, you define your stable IDs. The IDs are more so descriptions of like where this string appears or in what context this string appears. And then you provide the exact phrasing for that context in each language, right? That's what I would do, but what do I know? But the nice thing about having this as a generated file is that I can very easily just add an alternate file that this generates. So since the translators expect like the English string to be up here in the message ID, it's going to be trivially easy to just add another processing step that takes the list of all the strings and just outputs a slightly different file format, right? Like with all the things. Because like by the time it gets to this point, construct final PO, I just have a giant list of a bunch of what I'm calling PO entries, right? Which is just these records. So I just have a list of like hundreds or maybe over 1,000 of these things. And I could just iterate over them and just output a file in whatever format I want, because all the data is here, right? So it shouldn't be that big of an issue, but text of the tooltip animation thing, you can maybe play the animation once, but then have a new effects glow or something, so people aren't waiting for the anim to finish every time. Yeah, there is an effect. There's like a little sheen effect that plays on the icon. It might be a little bit too subtle, but there is something like that. But like a glow or something would be cool. I'll have to think about that. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we're gonna rework the Manticore Stinger. So, BRB. Okay, I'm back. So, Manticore Stinger, let's rework this. So this one is a little bit convoluted. I don't think anyone uses it, probably because it's not that useful. So, we're just going to take a different approach to this. So first, let's read what it does currently. I need to clear my save data and also turn on ignore save file. All right. Anytime an item heals self, apply poison to the enemy instead. Anytime an item applies poison to the enemy, heal self instead. So I kind of get what I was going for. This was meant to be a way of like swapping your healing and your poison. So if you had more healing items, you could do that, whatever. But I just don't think it's that useful. So we're gonna rework this. So I'm actually wondering, like, we don't have enough poison artifacts, so I think I still do want this to be poison related somehow. But what are we gonna do? I'm thinking like we could make it like poison and paralysis related. So there's a bunch of things we do. We can make it a little bit interesting. We can make it a little bit uninteresting. Like this could turn into just basically like increase poison damage by 1, right? Like that would be very straightforward. It would be useful. It would be a great addition for poison builds, etc. But I thought it would be interesting to introduce maybe like paralysis or something too. So I was thinking like if you, whenever you apply poison, you also paralyze an enemy. Oops. Per paralysis applied since last execution. Let me look at anchor. Paralysis applied. All boards. Or enemy. Wonder if I should do like globally. I do think I need that clarity though, because it works off of everything. So the reason I'm looking at Saint Anger is because I'm thinking if I gave Manticore Stinger like a very short paralysis against an enemy every time poison was applied, that could scale off of things that are based on paralysis. Paralysis is an item-based status, right? How about paralyzing an entire enemy board for a short amount of time? I mean, I don't even know if that's going to work, honestly. I don't think, I mean, it should, but also, does this work with the basilisk eye? Add artifact. Add artifact basilisk eye. So that's going to paralyze that. And then this should gain 5%. Yeah, so that works. So artifacts that do paralyze do affect items. So that's good. I don't know, how do we feel? So I'm basically torn between two choices, right? I'm torn between just making Manticore Stinger a straight buff to poison. The reason why that's an attractive option is because we don't have a lot of poison augmenting artifacts right now. As a matter of fact, I think it's just Manticore Stinger and the Venom. And both of those things, and the Manticore Stinger is not that useful, right? So really it's just the Venom for poison. So I'm thinking I could just make a really simple artifact Manticore Stinger. It just buffs poison in some way, right? Or we could do something more complex, like make it paralyzed based on the poison that you've applied. And actually, it may be a good opportunity to maybe revisit the poison status as well. Because I do wanna make poison a little bit stronger. I think poison is a little bit too weak. So let me think about this. Well, I need to think more about poison specifically. I guess maybe I shouldn't redo the Manticore Stinger until I redo the poison. I don't think it makes sense to do this right now. Okay. I do want to commit this change though. Let's build this. Okay, clarify. Fist of Anger. Actually, maybe we'll just look at. Let's just look at poison right now. Ability explanations. Poison. Stack amount decays by 1 plus an additional decay of 1 per. I wonder what happens if I just, so this decay amount goes up. What if I just force that to 1? I gotta set up a poison build. Let's do ceremonial dagger, frog, phylactery, alembic. What else? Wasp. Let me just see how that feels now that I've removed the additional decay. Oh, I gotta get rid of the Manticore Stinger too, or else that's gonna mess everything up. Okay, here we go. So instead of decaying it faster, oh, apply 2 poison. Look at that. Instead of decaying it faster, I just increase the damage, but the decay stays the same. Now I may need to update the stack threshold for the damage increases. Another poison. Let's just see what it looks like on the boss here. Honestly, this might actually be fine. Oof. Just go up here, see what this looks like. I think this may be okay, actually. Damage buff threshold. Turn the threshold up a little bit. Poison. Okay. That might be enough. So it's still decaying, you know, every 0.4 seconds by 1. But it doesn't decay by more the more stacks you have, which I think was the main problem with poison. I think that was the main problem. So let's see. Oops. And I'm not doing any alchemy on these things either, so actually just see what that looks like. Converts poison applied to damage. Wait, is this not doing the projection effect? Is that a bug? I don't see it doing the projection effect. It is projecting items. Okay, that's a bug. We'll look at that. Just a visual bug. This should be better though. I think this, obviously I'm gonna have to do a lot more testing, but so it's still decaying relatively fast. So by default, it's going to do 2.5 damage per second. And the damage per second goes up to 5. So it goes up by 2.5 every 20 stacks. So if I had 100 stacks, that would be 12.5 damage per second, I think. Is that right? 100 stacks, 12.5. If I had 500 stacks, $62.5 damage per second. I think that seems reasonable to me, because it is definitely possible to get up to 500 stacks, especially in the late game. You get up to 500 stacks in the late game, you'll be doing 62.5 DPS damage per second. So that means that, let's just pick out one, 586, 62.5. So you'll be able to defeat the enemy like here. If you had 500 stacks, you'd be able to defeat it in 9.376 seconds, apparently. But it's decaying all the time, so it's really a matter of like, you want to apply more poison than is being decayed in order to keep climbing your DPS up. And so you have to basically out DPS your own poison. You have to out apply the poison decay to ramp it up to get to that level. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's some tweaks to be done here, but I think just simply removing the fact that the decay amount increases with your stack count, I think just removing that is going to make poison feel a lot nicer. So this decay stacks now. I can simplify this as well. So if this is just going to be 1, oh, and the thing that's weird about poison is that it's decaying each stack entry by 1. Right, so it may actually decay. Private int decay per tick. So this becomes okay. Is that indicated in the ability explanation? Where's poison? How do I indicate that? So the way it works is it's not looking at the top line number and then reducing it by 1. Actually, maybe that's the problem. So what I'm doing is I'm maintaining a list of every amount of poison that was applied. So if I apply 5 poison in from an item, that gets added as a stack entry, which maintains so stack entry, this maintains its context about how many stacks it's going to apply. But what I'm doing is I'm iterating over each stack entry and decaying it. But maybe the proper thing to do maybe that was the problem that was making poison feel so bad, because I was increasing the decay amount based on the total stacks applied. But that was multiplicative, right? Because if I've got 10 different stack entries and I'm saying, okay, remove 3 stacks from each of those, then a bunch of poison could fall off at once. So I actually maybe think the increased stack consumption is a good idea. It just needs to be based off of the total stacks. Decay amount. Wait a minute. Let me look at this. Was that the way it was working? No, it was working that way before. Okay, never mind. Wait a minute. Oh, right. I actually should put this back. So it wasn't working the way that I said it was. It is indeed only removing the amount that I said it would remove, or that I configured it to remove, because it was subtracting this value based on the number of stacks it removed from the stack entry. Then once it hit 0, it would end. So it would only remove, yeah, it would only remove that amount. So we're gonna want to keep this in place though, because if I ever want to do something where I want to increase the decay per tick, I would have to, yeah, that would have to be handled. So I think that's fine. Yeah, we'll keep it the way it is. So this, I could add some kind of modifier to it, right? Okay. So we'll just do that for the poison. I'll have to play around with that, make sure it's good, but that should feel a lot better, I think. Yeah, I think that'll work. play around with that. Now the Manticore Stinger, we could do something interesting. Register modifier. Artifact modifiers. Additional poison damage per tick. We're just going to do a simple thing for Manticore Stinger. Oh, I think I have a major bug in here. You know what I just realized? Oops. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Okay. Artifact modifiers dot additional poison damage per tick. Register modifier. Additional poison decay per tick. And we're going to get rid of all these things. Okay. Manticore Stinger. Increases keyword poison damage per tick by 0, but increases poison decay rate by 0. Okay. Let's just do private const int increase. Might as well. Public override description template parameters. Increase. All right, we'll put the test player artifact back on. Build, and then I build the translations. I also need to make this actually work. Artifact manager dot accumulate modifier. Modifiers. Oh my gosh. Dot additional decay per tick. Tick amount 1 plus total stacks. We could do artifact manager. Let's just do base. Let's do base damage or something up here. Private int base damage per tick. Artifact manager. Accumulate modifier. Additional poison damage per tick. To do. There is an issue here. No one has figured out the issue yet. I may be able to get away with it. Okay, and we'll do base damage per tick. So this will evaluate the base damage, and that should work. Okay, so build again. Build the translations, then we go in. Increases poison damage per tick by 1, but increases poison decay rate by 1. So let's see how this looks. Frog. And that. So this basically just gives you more DPS at the cost of consuming more poison. So it's basically just faster damage, essentially. Oh man. Only applied 53 poison. Interesting. Okay. Rework Manticore Stinger. Hello, Fira. Hope you're good. I am. Welcome back. Good to see you. Rework Manticore Stinger done. Obviously, I might have to test all that stuff, but... All right. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you all for watching. We got some good stuff done from my backlog. But you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. I'm just full ahead on getting a demo build ready, so lots of changes and quality of life improvements to make, but it's getting there. We're getting to the end stage of development. We're at the end stage of development now. So once I get all these quality of life things done, once I get the demo build ready to go, I can spend the rest of my time working on content, which is going to be awesome. So yeah, but thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Welcome, Voided Name. Thank you, Clickertail. All right, hope you all have a great day, and if I stream again later, I will post in the Discord. Otherwise, I'll see you back here Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, bye-bye.